So we're out here about exactly 6 days after we tapped, and we've already collected, we'll show you in a second, we got jugs, but we've already collected over 100 gallons of sap. It's a lot of sap. You can see we come out here about 3 times a day. Today's a really nice day. It's our first warm day after that cold spell, and all the taps, they freeze overnight, so they stop production overnight and then they come back out. Yesterday they froze the whole day because it was down to 6 degrees. So today they're back open, and you can see just in about 5 hours, we've already got a half gallon off this one tap. It's all the way up to here, so you know, we've got 40 taps out here. We're producing a lot of sap. So now we'll come show you our collection barrel. You ready? So we've got a couple collection tanks around, and we just take the jugs and we put them in here until we're ready to boil, which will be in the next week. And you can see as it comes out, it's clear. It's just like water. I mean, it really is just water with a little bit of sap. Sugar maple is the highest sugar content in the sap, and it's only at about 2.5 to 3%. So you can see it's going to take a lot of this just to boil down. In our next episode, we'll focus on our boil day, but you can see all this sap that we're collecting is going to produce a little bit of maple syrup, but in the end, it's all worth it. Now, as you can see in here, we'll bring the camera closer. With that hard freeze, our entire sap here froze and now it's starting to thaw, which actually is going to be, I think, a benefit for us because we still have a week to go, and what this is going to do is it's going to kind of keep it fresh for the next week, because over time, if you leave it sit too long, microbes will start to eat the sugar away, which is, you know, obviously what we're after. So hopefully I think this is going to actually help us out in the end.
Last night I had the strangest dream I ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put it into war. I dreamed I saw a mighty room. The room was filled with men. In the paper they were signing said they never fight again. When the papers all were signed and a million copies made, they all joined hands and bowed their heads, and grateful prayers were prayed. And people in the streets below were dancing round and round, and guns and swords and uniforms were scattered on the ground. Last night I had the strangest dream I've ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war.
Alright, so here with me is a friend of mine. His name's Ashley David. He's on our spring staff here at camp, and he hails to us from Illinois. And we've been hiking a lot the last 2 weeks. and he's a really smart guy with a lot to say, and so I really wanted him to show us some things around these parts. One of his areas of expertise is geology. Now you studied geology in college, right?
I did, yes.
And where is it that you went to school again?
I went to school in Beloit College. It's located right in the border of Illinois and Wisconsin. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so when I picked up Ashley from the bus station in Canton, he was asking me about camp a little bit, and I told him we're in the foothills of Appalachia, and you were pretty excited about that.
Oh yeah. Being a geologist, I find that being surrounded by rocks and surrounded by the specific subject that I studied can just stimulate so much exploration. So I was very pumped to know that I was nearby some sort of exposed rock formation.
Now, Ashley, one of the kind of the driving points of the show here is kind of discovering what Appalachia means to people. When I say the word Appalachia, what are some of the first, what are your first thoughts?
My first thoughts are definitely Roots America. Roots America and strong heritage. I definitely feel that this area holds a lot of history. It's an area that we had to traverse before we headed out west. We had to get to know this part of America before we started going into California or the far reaches of the country. So yeah, I definitely feel that there's so much significance with being able to understand what it means to live here and understanding the environment in order to at least come up with better ways in order to do that.
Very interesting. Well, yeah, we're gonna go on a hike with Ashley, and we're gonna show a few things, and we're really hoping that Ashley's gonna be a regular on the show in the next coming months.
So, one thing that's pretty clear is that, and I'm not sure if people from this area are familiar with it, but Huck's talked about it a lot, and it's that Ohio is for the most part sandstone. And here's clear evidence of this. This entire rock formation right here, all of this is sandstone. Now you can have multiple types of sandstone. The way to tell them apart is by looking at the sand grains, but you can also look at the features that the sandstone exhibits. So one type of sandstone is marine sandstone that's deposited at beach fronts. The other type is Aeolian sandstone, which is deposited a bit farther back along beach fronts, and is mostly deposited by wind processes. The way you tell them apart is you look at the types of structures they create. Sand dunes are big old mounds of sand that have just been accumulated over time as a result of wind blowing these tiny sand particles over each other continuously and just having them accumulate. And right here we have clear evidence of that. As you can see, this area right here exhibits a pinch, and this pinch is just layer upon layer upon layer of accumulated sandstone material. And as you can see, it extends all the way up to here. And you can actually tell or identify a three-dimensional shape to this sand dune. If you can trace it out, imagine these beds coming out at you. And if they were to come out at you, there would be I would say they would definitely be moving along a plane that almost seems round. I mean, if you look at the shape of this, it's pretty round right here. So theoretically, it's possible that we're looking at a gap in between two dunes right here that was deposited millions of years ago. But yeah, it's pretty neat. Yeah. Yeah, and as you can see, it just extends all the way over there. So this sandstone formation was just a big old dune field that extended all the way across this landscape. It's quite magnificent. I love it. All right, this right here is frozen groundwater that's seeping out from cracks within this sandstone formation that we pointed out earlier. Water likes to take the path of least resistance. And because sandstone is very porous, it holds a lot of water. But if the water manages to find a path, in this case, a crack right here, it'll flow right through it, and now that it's winter, it'll freeze over, and you have this beautiful little icicle structure right here.
Whenever.
All right, so down there, farther downstream, we encountered a bunch of sandstone, and that was indicative of a sand dune field. We've gone up along the river. Now we are in younger layers of rock, and these younger layers of rock are shale. This type of rock right here is deposited by marine processes, and there are typically three facies to marine deposition. You have the oceanfront facies that deposits marine sandstone. A little bit farther out, you get shale, and in deep ocean environments, you get the deposition of limestone. Now, shale is very, very carbon rich, which is why you end up getting such a dark color to it. It's also the primary source of oil, which it's prevalent along this part of the country. In the cases of this specific shale, we've actually found some fossils, and they appear to be marine fossils. Some of them look like bits of fish scale, and others appear to be brachiopods or shelled organisms, mollusks.
So what you're looking at right now, I'll put my finger there, that brown spot, is we're really zoomed up on a piece of shale, and we found what we believe to be a fossilized fish scale. So as Ashley was saying, the shale is a younger rock than the sand dunes were. So the sand dunes were formed, and then the ocean level rises, and then the shale was deposited on there. And so what we've got here is a fish scale from an ancient sea.
We're rolling. Oh, man. All right. Where the ocean meets the sea, we talked about the sand dunes being deposited at a later time than this shell formation right here. And we can actually begin to see the sedimentary transition between the rougher grained sandstone and this finer grained shale. Right here, this layer right here is sandy shale. So it's shale interbedded with grains of sand. It feels rougher to the skin. And as we go higher up in the geologic record, right here, we encounter shale. So it's a perfect example of a transition zone, just evolving over time, leading to deeper oceans.
Well, me and my uncle went riding down South Colorado, West Texas bound. We stopped over in Santa Fe, that being the point, just about halfway. Hey, you know it was the hottest part of there. Took the horses up to the stall, went to the barroom, ordered drinks for all. Days in the saddle, you know my body hurt, and it being summer, I took off my shirt. I tried to wash off some of that dust and dirt. West Texas cowboys, they's all around, with liquor and money, they's loaded down. Good day, you know it seemed a shame. I know my uncle, he starts a friendly game. Hey, hello Jack, and the winner takes a hand. Uncle started winning, cowboys got sold. One of them called him and then tomorrow accused of cheating. Oh no, it couldn't be. I know my uncle, he's as honest as me. Hey, I'm as honest as a gentleman can be. Two of them cowboys, he starts to draw. I shot him down low, he never saw. Shot another, that man he won't grow. In the confusion, my grabber go. Hey, we hightailed it down to Mexico. All them cowboys out of their gold. I love my uncle, God rest his soul. Taught me good, Lord, taught me all I know. Taught me so well, I grabbed that gold, and I left his dead ass there by the side of the road.
Today's quote comes from John Muir. Contemplating the lace-like fabric of streams outspread over the mountains, we were reminded that everything is flowing, going somewhere, animals and so-called lifeless rocks as well as water. Thus the snow falls fast or slow in grand beauty, making glaciers and avalanches, the air in majestic floods carrying minerals, plant leaves, seeds, spores, with streams of music and faint fragrance, water streams carrying rocks both in solution and in the form of mud particles, sand, pebbles, and boulders. Rocks flow from volcanoes like water from springs, and animals flock together and flow in currents modified by stepping, leaping, gliding, flying, swimming, etc., while the stars go streaming through space, pulsed on and on forever like blood globules in nature's warm heart.
Are you recording that?